Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Azizah Pramesthi from SMA Negeri Surabaya, Class 9D, number 9. Today I will tell you a story about the legend of the golden snail. The legend of the golden snail is a popular folktale that came from Japanese Indonesia. There are several versions that retelling this story, more than one source. The most common one is a legend that describing the romance, the separation, and the reunion of Raden Inogatapati and Chandrakirana. It tells so many years ago there are a kingdom called the Kingdom that ruled by King Gatamana, who had two beautiful daughters named Chandrakirana and Dewi Galuh. The two princes always had a wonderful relationship as well as being sisters, and they were very happy and content with their life. One day a handsome prince from the kingdom of Kahuripan named Raden Inokatapati visited King Gatamana. And when he's meeting Chandrakirana for the first time, he fell in love with her, so he asked the king permission to marry his daughter. King Gatamana was happy to give Raden Inokatapati permission to marry Chandrakirana, and the two were engaged to be married. Although the two sisters still had a good relationship until Dewi Galuh was deeply jealous of her sister because Prince Raden Inokatapati had chosen to marry her sister. She thought about how she could somehow get her sister out and the prince might turn his affection towards her and marry her. And one day she thought that the help of a wicked witch was able to cast a spell and turn her sister into something repulsive to kill the passion of Prince Raden Inokatapati. The wicked witch agreed, but she told her she needed to get near enough to cast the spell, so she suggested Dewi Galuh to take her sister to walk along the riverbank where she could turn herself into a gold snail and wait for them to game. And one day Dewi Galuh and her sister walked along the riverbank. They came across a gold snail, and Chandrakirana did not know that the snail was actually the wicked witch that could transform herself into the gold snail. When the witch saw Chandrakirana, she immediately transformed back to her normal self. And she cast a spell that could transform Princess Chandrakirana into a gold snail. After the spell's success turned Princess Chandrakirana into a gold snail, Dewi Galuh threw her into the river. And one day an old woman was fishing in the river hoping to catch some fish. The net that she used for fishing was empty of fish, but the net did contain a golden snail. The old woman had never seen a golden snail before. She thought it would be good if she took it home and placed it in a large jar. The next morning she went out to the river again, hoping to have a better luck and catch a few fish. And when she got back to her house, she had a big surprise. When she entered the door, she noticed the pleasant aroma of cooking, and on her table there were already prepared several dishes. One morning, she peeked through the window to see what might be happening. At first, she saw nothing. But then she noticed her golden snail began to grow and transform into a beautiful princess who stepped out of the shell. The girl began preparing and cooking the delicious dish. The old woman was surprised and shocked, so she asked the beautiful princess why she was cooking for an old woman like her. The princess started to explain that she is Princess Chandrakirana, the daughter of King Kartamana, who was chosen by Prince Raden Inokatapati to be his wife, but her sister, Princess Dewi Galuh, was jealous and asked a wicked witch to transform her into a gold snail. The old woman was disbelieving the story, but when she remembered how she had seen her transform into a princess from the gold snail before, she believed on that story. Meanwhile, Prince Raden Inokatapati, after heard the disappearance of Chandrakirana, decided to leave the king court to search Chandrakirana on the countryside and travel to many towns and villages. His disappearance from court came to the ears of the wicked witch. She quickly realized he was searching for Chandrakirana. The wicked witch instantly transformed herself into a crow to seek him out. One day, as he was resting under a tree, the crow came and began talking to him. Of course, he was surprised by the talking crow, but realizing it must be magical, listened to what it said. The crow telling him that Princess Chandrakirana was kept by a wicked old woman in a place over the mountain, and the crow told him that he would lead him to that place. Prince Raden Inokatapati decided to follow the crow which flew before him. After many days traveling, he came across an old man who was sat by the road begging for food. The prince had little to give, but he decided to give it all to the old man, even though he knew he would have to go hungry. The old man thanked him, and after he had eaten, he told him that he was a sorcerer, and because Raden Inokatapati had stopped and given him his last food, he would help him to find his Chandrakirana. The old man told him which village she could be found, and gave him direction and told him that she lived with a kind old woman. The prince made his way to the village immediately, and when he arrived he was tired and thirsty, so he approached to ask for a drink of water. He knocked at the door and the kind old woman answered, and invited him to have a drink and a rest. As he entered, he was thrilled to see Princess Chandrakiana, and both of them felt really happy finally they could get back together. Prince Raja Indukirtapati took Princess Chandrakiana and the kind old woman back to the royal court, and Princess Chandrakiana told her father King Kritamana about the spell her sister had persuaded the wicked witch to place on her. The king was very angry with Princess Devikalu. He decided to send her into the forest and was never seen again. Prince Raja Indukirtapati and Princess Chandrakiana were married and lived along a happy life together, and the kind old woman also stayed with them. That is the story of the legend of the Snail. I'm sorry if there are several mistakes that I made. Thank you for listening.